What is up, guys? It's me, the ALE Prince, here to review the next movie in the DC Extended Universe, this time, Aquaman. So, this to some people was probably one of the most anticipated movies ever because Aquaman has been such an iconic character. I always thought he was lame because back in the day, I remembered, even in the cartoons, he couldn't do anything outside of water, but now um, they kind of made him more serious. They took him way more serious, and I thought they did a good job over the years with the character. I was originally supposed to watch this movie on a double date when the movie got released. We ended up not watching it because one of my friends' partners ended up being an asshole, and we ended up watching Mary Poppins Returns because we always have to please one person instead of all unanimously voted. But it was still a fun time. But eventually, I ended up watching this film, and I gotta say, I had a blast. Let me just cover all my messes. And yeah, I had a blast. I will say this in the beginning, I didn't like this movie. The first time I watched this movie, I didn't like it. Second time, I didn't like it anymore. But this time, I watched it again, and I gotta say, I still enjoy it. I really, really enjoyed it. I still think I have some problems with it, but for the most part, they got it right. Um, so the movie is I'm glad that they actually got a little bit of the origin story of who is Aquaman. Um, how does he become Aquaman? But something I fucking hate about these movies, the DC Extended Universe, they have unbelievably annoying bullies. Like you would not see these bullies in real life, and I don't know why, but whenever horror directors take over, they end up writing off some like really over the top bullies that are just unbelievable. They're Hollywood bullies basically, and they have them in the beginning. Thank God they don't have them throughout the movie. But yeah, that's basically how they are. We'll get to Shazam. I got some shit to say about those bullies, but this movie, like I said, because we didn't get to see the origin story, we got to see uh, Thomas, which is Arthur's dad. He meets at Atlanta, and after he saves her, they start to fall in love and they hook up, and they ended up having a son, Arthur Fleck, who was obviously Aquaman, but played by Jason Momoa, and I like that they do go back and forth with his origin story, like showing him training and doing all of this stuff, because while they took his mother away from him, they also had him being trained. But uh, that tragic scene where like Willem Dafoe had nudist vocal, he had to tell Arthur that his mom was killed because of having a kid with a non-Atlantean, and it was basically like, yeah, like you can't hook up with a human person because that's against the rules and stuff like that. And that's why she was they killed her off. But um his brother, the Ocean Master, he challenges him to a battle once and for good to finally be the king. And it was actually great chemistry because I actually like Arthur being like, honestly, when I found out I had a brother, I wish I could talk to him just so I could see how he's doing and get to know him more. And you feel sympathetic. Yeah, that was great. But he's the Ocean Master, I forget the guy's origin name, but he's very like, he's so like anti um Arthur Arthur Curry, like, I hate you, son of a bitch. Like he's like kind of like, imagine what would happen if they cast Bill Burr in this role. Jesus Christ, imagine that. That's basically what this would be. It got to the point in some parts. Uh King Nereus, who was played by Dolph Lundgren. Um I thought it would. I thought he was good, but he was just kind of a distraction. Like, and that's the problem. They got a lot of actors that are so distracting. They're so famous that it's so distracting to see them as these characters, like Dolph Lundgren, Willem Dafoe, Nicole Kidman. Yeah, but you could get away with it. And one of my favorite characters was Mara, played by Amber Heard, who I believe is canceled after the after bullying Johnny Depp. I believe that's the story. Um, I think she's a phenomenal actress. I'm not saying this just because she's hot. She's actually a pretty good actress. Um, and like I said, she was one of my favorite characters in the movie. This is how you do um, powerful women characters, Hollywood. You don't like you don't tell us that they're powerful female characters. You show us that they're powerful female characters. That's how you do it. And they go on this adventure to find one of those I forgot what they're called, but those powerful, I forgot what they're called. You know what I'm talking about, the forks. They basically go on this quest to find the greatest one, and they try everything to get it because, like I said, it's the most powerful one, and it will help save the world because Ocean Master wants like world domination. And sometimes his origin or like the reason why he wants to destroy the world is just because of his mom's death. It's a little bit silly and over the top, and it's really one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to the villains in comic book movies. They kind of suck, but I'm not gonna take that away from it because if that was the case, then Guardians of the Galaxy would be a terrible movie because Ronan was pretty bad in that movie. Or I'm trying to think of some other villains that were pretty generic as fuck. I mean, Thor: The Dark World had one of the worst villains. So bad, it was so bad that the movie itself was terrible. Like that's how bad that shit was. But there was other problems with that movie. This movie, in the hand, is a good, fun adventure movie. I always had this problem with DC movies in general, but why are the movies long as shit? These movies are long as fuck, and there was at some points that they didn't need to go this long. They could have cut a lot of stuff up and just try to hurry to uh, get somewhere, get from point A to point B. There's a part where we're set to believe that Mara and Arthur are dead, but then they have a tracking device on Mara, and I was like, why didn't they just use that when they were hiding under the whale? It was a bit silly, but little nitpicky things like that get to me. There was actually a scene where Mara and Arthur get out of the water and they play a Pitbull song. I was like, get the fuck out of here! Trying to be a music video in a serious movie. Get the fuck out of here. And then I should talk about this. One of the more realistically likable villains was Black Manta, and I'm glad that they're gonna use him again. I want to see more of Black Manta. Uh, Yaha Abdul Mateen II. He did a pretty good job, and I mean, I haven't seen Watchmen, but I heard he was great. Um, he was in The Greatest Showman. I remember that. That movie, he wasn't that good. No one was that great in that movie. I believe he was in Luke Cage. I don't want to confirm it, but I heard he might have been. But yeah, I definitely want to see this guy do more things. But he was great as Black Manta. It was kind of cool to see like that. The Atlanteans are like willing to, or the bad Atlanteans are willing to work with humans just to like do like a side hustle, and that's how Black Manta got all the suit technology, which was great. And basically, he just wants revenge from his father, who did some bad doings, and you know, um, Arthur's the reason why he's gone. So it makes sense. And there was a really cool, powerful scene where Arthur is like, I can't be king. I create enemies. I cannot be king. That he does truly believe because it's true, but he was willing to learn to be a king. And I am glad that we're getting a sequel because we want to see characters like this evolve and get better and improve. There's a reason why Thor um, wasn't the king of Asgard immediately. They gave him the king of Asgard role in the first movie, but then he lost it because of his ego, and then he had to kind of learn and get his way back up. This time, we're having the character be a king and then start from scratch and be like, okay, how am I gonna do this shit? Something that the former president, should have done. I'm looking at you, Jay Trump. You coward. You're wrong. Anyways, um, overall, like I said, this movie was really well done for the most part. Um, some other things I could point out. Ooh, I've always wanted to talk about this, but no one ever brings this up. But isn't it kind of great that a DC superhero doesn't have their parents dead for once? Like Batman, Superman, you could say Wonder Woman, but not really. Like it's good to actually have a superhero character with both parents around for once. It's like a bit of a change instead of this "I will avenge you" type of story. Um, One other thing I would definitely want to talk about that I always had a problem with this movie, the CG is terrible. Don't let other people tell you otherwise. Like some parts look amazing, like them in the ocean, but some parts are like, ew, like they really need to work on the CG. James Wan directed, so which means he was part of like the whole visual stuff. And James Wan is hit or miss for me when it comes to his visuals. On one hand, he has some good ideas. He could do some decent work like without CG, but when you have no choice but to use CG, he kind of sucks at it. I mean, even even in Furious 7, I'm not just saying this because he did Furious 7, but there was parts where you see Paul Walker's face and they kind of moved it around because obviously they had someone play him. Paul Walker's real life brother play him. So you could tell that James Wan struggles at some CG. I mean, I saw The Conjuring too, and I thought he did a solid job. Some parts were a little bit ridiculous. Some of the CG was terrible, but yeah, it's just little baby steps that people need to learn. But I'm definitely glad that this movie was like the first one that made us go, okay, DC is going the right direction. They're showing us these characters. They're showing us all different sides of characters. Little side stories. Don't really focus on making a universe. Just making fun action films. That is the most important thing. That they were different from Marvel. They were different from most franchises. And I think if they go this route, I think it will be more fun. I heard that they were gonna call it Worlds of DC around this point. I don't know how accurate that is, but I really am happy to see this movie. Like I said, if this movie was shorter, if the CG worked better, and if they cast people who weren't gonna be a distraction, I think we would have had a good a classic movie. This movie is like in the low B level range. And there's another character that I haven't brought up yet because he was part of the end credit scene, but it's Randall Park. Um, Randall Park. He was in the Interview, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and he's also in um WandaVision currently. One of my favorite roles he played was in Always Be My Maybe. He was very funny in that movie. But here he plays Dr. Steven Shin, and I really like this character a lot. They did him justice, um, like in the comics. Like it was just literally a guy who screwed over Arthur, and like it's just wanting to research the Atlanteans and find out all this information. And I love that he's gonna be a part of Aquaman too. It seems like it because he found the equipment for Black Manta, and he's like, how does this stuff work? And Black Manta says, I'll tell you how it works. But first, you better give me him. And then he throws a knife on Aquaman. That was awesome. So I'm really glad that they didn't kill off Black Manta. And sometimes you don't need to kill off your villains. Sometimes you need to keep them around to see where they're going. I wouldn't be shocked if Patrick Wilson returns and tries to be the hero once again. I don't think he should do that. I think he should just stay in jail. I'm glad that they didn't kill him off either because, even though he was a petty, annoying person, it made sense in the long run to keep him around. Like it's great that he gets to spend time talk to his mom. It's good to see him reunite with his brother. I'm glad that they're gonna go routes with him. Like I said, I don't follow the Aquaman comics. I just knew him from the cartoons more, and they did him justice. They did a good job. Over the years, I thought that Jason Momoa was a terrible choice to play Aquaman because I always thought he should have been Lobo from DC Comics. And as far as who I would have cast as Aquaman, personally, I would have picked Tom Hardy, but he ended up playing Venom. Um, now that I think about it, that would have been very interesting. Tom Hardy as Aquaman, that would have been pretty cool. But anyways, thought it was a very enjoyable movie. Definitely one of the better ones in the DC. Not my favorite, but we'll get to my favorite soon. It's me, the ALE Double X Prince. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And until then, I'm out.